This is WOBC, the Squirrel
This is
Scoop.
WOBC News.
This is WOBC News.
This is WOBC News,
The Squirrel Scoop.
The Squirrel Scoop.
You are listening to WOBC 91.5 FM Oberlin College and Community Radio. This is Daniela Sueiro with our arts and culture piece for the day. Here with me is Jake. Jake, welcome on to WOBC Squirrel Scoop. How are you doing today?
I'm pretty good. I had a nice swim this morning, so yeah, feel good.
In this weather?
Yeah, indoor swim at the
Okay.
splash zone.
Okay,
yeah.
good. We don't want anyone getting sick.
No.
Can you tell me why you're here today? Introduce yourself.
My name's Jake Griswold. I was born in Oberlin, grew up in LaGrange area, and I have my first feature film. The Oberlin premiere is tonight. It's screened once before in Cleveland, but it's the second screening altogether of the film, Shock Infinity, tonight at the Apollo, 10 p.m. That is open to the public. The theater fits 400 people, so there's plenty of room for everybody.
Wow. Now that sounds exciting. Can you tell me, what is Shock Infinity about? How did this film come to be?
All right. I was a Cleveland State student. I graduated in 2011 with a film major, and I think the summer after I graduated, I started working at a coffee shop, the Root Cafe in Lakewood. It was very crunchy, hippie, very weird people, the customers. And
Best people.
Yeah, and there were some very eccentric people I was hanging out with, and this idea came to me about, well, I don't want to give too much away about the movie because it is like a surprise, but basically I've also been involved in the music scene in Cleveland. I was a DJ at WCSB. I was playing in bands, and I wrote a movie that's basically what I wanted to be the ultimate movie, something that would combine all the different genres I love the most, which is like a punk movie, a blaxploitation movie, a horror movie, and a boner comedy. Those are my favorite genres. I watch a lot of movies from the 70s and 80s, so I wanted something that would combine all of those, but also be coherent as one piece. And so I set out to do that, to make the ultimate movie, and I think I finally succeeded. It took 14 years to get it from dream to screen.
14.
But 14 years from 2011 to the premiere was in Cleveland in 2025 in December.
Wow.
And this will be the second screening of the movie. So the screening in Cleveland went very well. Like over 300 people showed up. The crowd was laughing and cheering and, shocked. There's clapping at the end. It was very energetic. It was like going to Rocky Horror, which is amazing because it's like the first screening of the movie ever.
Yeah.
And but it was an ambitious project. There's over 30 speaking roles in the movie. Altogether, it's a comedy, and it starts out about these scheming club owner. This band, this girl group, a post-punk girl group is coming. They're on tour, and it's Cleveland, but we don't say the city's Cleveland, but they're going to play at his club, the Rabbit Hole, and he's got this kind of crazy scheme, and he's played by a WOBC DJ, Rob Alexander. So yeah, he's got this crazy. He's got a crazy scheme that kind of makes sense to him, and he's also got these bubblegum drugs. He's the bubblegum gangster. He passes out these bubblegum drugs that Bazooka gets you all hyped up, and Juicy Fruit gets you all loosey-goosey. So yeah, it's a comedy with a lot of different elements to it, and the story's linked by the lead actress. She plays a supporting role in Act 1 and Act 3 of the movie, and she's the lead role in Act 2. And each of the 3 acts was shot on a different camera. So we start out medium fidelity, 1080p DSLR camera. The punks, / blaxploitation section of the movie. We switch after about 40 minutes into a VHS horror section, VHS on the big screen, and then we end on 4K. Fast-paced 4K, the boner comedy section where everything's just going crazy, So yeah, it's a dynamic film and a lot of great performances. The actors were all just kind of people I knew. I didn't cast anybody from local theater groups or anything like that. I mainly cast people I knew or approached them. I did hold some auditions because it is a big cast. I held auditions right here in Tappan Square and cast 2 Oberlin students, 2 college students, Frankie Mizakowski and Lars Westenbarger.
We know them well.
Okay, they got cast. Frankie was just a tag-along, but he ended up getting a pretty big role. And
He's got energy.
Yeah, he's got energy. He killed it. And Lars is very good also.
Wow.
So that you can see them in the movie. A lot of Oberlin representation in the movie. Aaron Dillaway, who owns Hanson Records, in it. His son Leo, Leo Dillaway, who's an Oberlin student, has a main role. Laurel, who owns All Things Great, has a big role. And
so it's a community project.
Community. It's a Cleveland Oberlin collaboration.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of Cleveland people in it, and a lot of DJs from WCSB and WOBC.
That's fantastic. I love a public radio connection to it.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, It sounds to me like this is a movie that like immerses your senses. It kind of hits you from all angles. It's almost sounding like a punk Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, you've got the idea. It's I'm coming at it from a DJ perspective. I was a DJ for almost 20 years, so I approached them. I did a 2-hour radio show called Heartbeat in the Brain that kind of moved in paces where it ended with like getting really dancey by the end, but we started out kind of, zone out. And so I kind of approached the movie the same way I did the radio show. I wanted to make it nearly 2 hours. It's 116 minutes, opening credits to end credits. But yeah, I kind of did it in I approached it like a flow, like a musical flow. Medium pace, medium fidelity, slow pace in the middle, slow, low fidelity VHS, and then bang, fast last 40 minutes, bam, 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 fast pace, crazy.
Can you speak more about how your experience as a DJ translated into the medium of film, and what you'd recommend for any other DJs, how it'll influence their artistic perception of this?
Well, I think that for me, the sound element is just as important as the visual element, and I think that's people's voices. That's why I cast a lot of DJs, because DJs generally have good diction. They generally have very well control, especially if they've been DJing a long time.
Yeah.
Good control over their voices, and that's just as important to me as like the face. I mean, that's important too, the visual
soundscape of it.
But yeah, the whole soundscape, and it's a lot of musicians and a lot of DJs, who worked on this movie. I've never made a film before. The cinematographer was somebody I met in film school, but it's his first feature film. He did a fefeature documentary, but this is his first feature film. And yeah, everyone kind of pitched in. We were able to make it on a super low budget. I'm just spending money, like I was saying, as a tree worker is how I financed the movie. But I didn't have to pay for that much. Everyone volunteered. We paid, to make a puppet. I found a very good puppeteer, Nate Puppets, who was in Cleveland. He just moved to like Connecticut or something. But yeah, I discovered him in the process of making a movie. I was like, I need a puppet like somewhere in between creepy and cute, but not too in either, too far in either category. It was hard to find that
Oberlin's
balance.
Alley.
Yeah, so I found Nate Puppets, and yeah, he was just perfect. He had that Meet the Feebles kind of aesthetic that I was looking for, which is a great puppet movie from the 80s. And so he made a puppet. We rented some. The movie is not. We never say what time period it's set, but it's basically could be set in the 80s. As much as we could control as possible. I got old cars.
Wow.
We got rented 4 old cars. 3 of them I got for free from friends and doing tree work for people, and one of them I had to pay to rent. But they're all old cars, and there's some modern stuff in the background, but nobody had cell phones. We tried to make it as inconclusive as what the time period is, where it's set. It's the Midwest, obviously, some decaying city in the Midwest. But we tried to keep it all kind of vague and like it could be anywhere.
That's great. Now, this is a bit of a creative question, so feel free to take your time with this. But I think you're gonna have an interesting answer. It's if Shock Infinity were a person that you were to see around Oberlin, can you describe what they would be like?
If Shock Infinity were a person, I mean, Rob is a pretty good representation. It's that DIY aesthetic. It's somebody who's putting up flyers, doing everything the hard way, doing everything the old school way. They're driving around in an old beater car, and they're walking around, handing out flyers, and posting them up. Just maybe they got a boom box and they're launching their own music. They're a total outsider, just marching to their own beat. Eccentric but likable. Like you're just intrigued by this person. They're just
there's an energy to it.
An energy, yeah. They got their own unique energy. It's a movie for outsiders, and everyone in the cast is kind of just a real authentic weirdo.
That's fantastic. I love that. Can you talk about the production process? Was it a smooth road to the culmination of this movie and the screening in Cleveland, or did it have its trials and tribulations?
It's been living rent-free in my brain for 14 years. Here's how it happened. I wrote the story in 2011, and I felt I was writing it based on people. I was writing something that I thought I could film, myself, that wouldn't be too hard, that wouldn't be too elaborate, but it did end up being pretty elaborate. Like I said, over 30 speaking roles. So I was writing it for all these people, but in 2011, I was, young. I was, in my early 20s. I didn't have the resources to make the movie as good as it could be. So it developed slowly over time. In 2016, I finally sat down to write the screenplay, take the story into a screenplay with this guy, Frank. We wrote it in his haunted house with like guitars strumming themselves over this period of several late nights, writing sessions. We wrote the first draft of the screenplay in 2016. That was a 45-page draft. I expanded the draft myself into like an 82-page script with expanded the dialogue. In 2018, I started to film the movie myself, with myself as a cinematographer. I was like, okay, this has been 7 years since I wrote this. I got to film it now. So I was all hyped up. I started filming it myself with myself as a cinematographer. I was getting a different person to do sound every time. I was doing the lighting. I got very overwhelmed. We filmed for about a month on weekends. I filmed a good chunk of the movie, some of the hardest scenes I filmed, but it was turning out just campier than I had intended. Just that kind of tongue-in-cheek, like, oh, I'm acting in my friend's movie. Some of the acting was good, but some of it, I wasn't able to concentrate fully on the performances because I was so distracted by so many other elements.
Yeah, so many different roles.
Yeah, I was just trying to it was just too much, so I took a pause. I was like, it's just not turning out. I know the screenplay is great, but this is not going to be the ultimate version of the movie. So I took a pause, intending to pick up where I left off. Then I had a leg injury. I tore my ACL. COVID happened. Different things. The lead actress I had written the lead part for, we sort of had a falling out for a while. We're friends again. But so it was very hard. And I didn't have someone to cast in the lead role because the lead actress has to play 3 roles. She has to sing in a band. She has to play a solo minimal synth set. She has to play a teenage girl. She has to play, like a magical genie. So she has to encompass all these different roles. Very hard role. And for me, casting, I think it was Robert Altman said it, casting is 90% of making the movie. So it's very important to me. That's the most important element was the casting. So I took a break and I was struggling to find a lead. And then finally in 2024, my friend Catherine, who lives in Texas, was coming into town for 2 weeks and asked to stay with me. And I suddenly thought of her as the lead. I'd never considered her because she lives in Texas. But I sent her the script, and she loved it. And I ended up flying her out here 4 times. And then Andrew from film school volunteered to be the cinematographer with all his lights and cameras. So he supplied all the lights and cameras. So I had a good, solid right-hand man, helping out with all the technical aspects so I could concentrate fully on the performances. And then the universe helped the movie along, too. Rob Alexander showed. I heard him on the radio. Leo Dillaway and Will Blake, who are both from Oberlin, they showed up at my house for like a DIY movie night thing I was doing. And I was like, oh, you guys be perfect as the two stoners who, for the beginning part of the movie. And so, yeah, the universe definitely helped the movie along with different things, and the community really supported it. It was hard getting actors because when you say you're making a movie in Cleveland or Oberlin, everyone's like, oh, okay, you're making nobody takes it seriously. Nobody thinks it's going to be anything. But it turned out really well. I'm so happy. I'm glad I didn't finish the 2018 version. It turned out to be a good instinct. The 2024 version that we filmed is like the ultimate version. And now it's out there to see, tonight at
How
10
does
p.m.
it feel to have it out in the world? This project that seems like it was a culmination of kismet, timing, and community. In our last few minutes, can you reflect on how it feels to have this full product out in the world and where people can watch it?
Well, so far it's only screened once in Cleveland, and now we're screening it in Oberlin, and the process is just kind of beginning to get it out in the world because I'm dealing with the most annoying part of making a movie, and that's the legal aspect that happens afterwards about getting copyright to all the songs and stuff. And so the movie's almost like 100% copyright, but not quite. So right now I'm sending it to a bunch of film festivals. I'm trying my strategies to get it outside of Ohio, but I'm not from the film world. I worked as a tree climber. I don't know a lot of other filmmakers, so it's going to be a whole new learning experience for me of how I'm going to get it screened. If I can't get it screened in festivals, then I'll drive around myself and try to set up screenings DIY style or something. But I am going to get it out there, and I don't want to put it up for streaming or anything yet because I really want one of the reasons I made it because I never go to the movies anymore. There's nothing I want to see. So I made this movie to get me and other people like me who like more like 70s, 80s movies back in the theaters to see something original and weird and unpredictable and immersive on the big screen. So the goal for 2026 is to get it screened in the theaters. And then 2027, I'll work on maybe a DVD, VHS release, maybe streaming. We'll see. I mean, maybe I'll get lucky and it'll get distributed by somebody, but that's all. Yeah, part of the process. Tonight, 10 p.m., Shock Infinity at the Oberlin Apollo. Full surround sound, immersive experience, giant screen, room for everybody.
Okay, and that's great. I hope the Oberlin community shows up for that.
I hope
Given everyone that is involved in this. Congratulations, Jake. Thank you again for all that you're doing. And a reminder, if you want to read more about this film, there is a review article out about it. You can find it online or at the Oberlin Review on various campus locations. All right, this has been WOBC 91.5 FM, Oberlin College and Community Radio.
This is WOBC, the Squirrel Scoop.
This is WOBC News.
This is WOBC News.
This is WOBC News, the Squirrel Scoop.
The Squirrel Scoop.